Hello everyone, thank you for watching the Brosifs channel. I am your host, the Brosif, and you are watching Best Watch. Thank you for joining us. Today I am going to start, this is the first episode, I am going to start a new series called Best Watch. Welcome to the first episode, and so let's get into it. I started out with the thought of I want to do some kind of movie reviews, something that I just feel comfortable with. And so I've kind of come up with the concept of movie reviews, but in a more unique way. And so as you can see, set up a whole new set idea. It's different from what you've seen before on this channel. And I'm really trying to get the classic film, but also we're going to have some modern films in there as well. Just just film vibe. So if it helps to eat some popcorn while you watch this, be my guest. I mean, I would. All right, so let's jump right into it. I want to get a fresh perspective, not so much as a critic idea, but more of a artistic and positive look on the films that I do. So I started with a classic, E.T., directed by Steven Spielberg. I'm sure you are aware of it. If you haven't seen it already, there will be a few spoilers in the film. In the video, I mean, not the film. There will be, it's a great film. You should watch it. If you want to see it before you watch this video, go watch it and then come back to me later and we can talk about it. If you don't mind being spoiled a little bit, I'm going to give you parts of this that honestly I would like to know before I watch it, because it allows me to look for something more than just the story, because the story's great, but it allows me to look for something and to appreciate things as I watch it. So let's get right into it. E.T., it was released June 11th, 1982. It was right in between the Star Wars movies, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And that was a big time frame because that was when everyone was kind of into sci-fi. And it's because of Star Wars and some of Star Trek as well. So the idea of aliens and just the nostalgia that was in the culture at that time was a big part of it. And so there's a reason it came out around that time. Everyone was looking at alien movies and space. People were just into it. They always have been into it, but that was a big booming time for it. So just an interesting fact about that. The basic idea of the film is an alien, a group of aliens come down on Earth to harvest some of the plantation. Apparently they're aliens that are, I don't know if they're studying or if they're just collecting, but they're looking for plantation on multiple planets. And so they come to Earth at night to collect some, and in this small town, one of them gets left behind because they started getting chased by these local townsmen. I don't know if it's police or just townsmen. It doesn't really specify, but they're chased, and so one of them gets left behind, and that's the one who is ultimately called E.T. in the film. And what basically happens is he comes in contact with this young boy named Elliot, and over time they grow to be friends, and it's a beautiful story of friendship with in an odd place. You wouldn't think you'd see that, but and then it ends tragically with E.T. having to go back with his people at the end, but it's just a beautiful story of an alien and a young boy becoming friends in an unlikely way, and it's very interesting. You should watch it. It's a beautiful story. It's brilliant. So some thoughts that I wanted to give you as we're looking into it, that you can look for when you're watching it. It can cause you to be a little bit more interested, I think, in the concept and what you're watching, so you can look for this and appreciate it at the same time. The first one is there's a beautiful subplot. It's not a beautiful, it's more tragic, but it's displayed beautifully. And to be honest, Dee Wallace is the one who plays the mom of the young boy in the film. She's a brilliant actress, and she really sold this subplot. Basically, the subplot idea was that there was 3 kids, the youngest girl, Elliot, and then the older brother, Michael, and then their mom, and she's a single mom because they recently just divorced. And the emotion that she has for that plot, when you take the whole idea of the alien ET and the friendship out of it, and most of the film she's completely unaware that ET is even there, but she just really connects emotionally with the tragedy and the drama that's happening in her family, and you just really feel it. There's just something about her performance. There's just something about the vibe that just really is captivating, and that's something that I thought was really interesting and worth mentioning at least. Another thing was the film, like almost all of Steven Spielberg's films, it's very high production value. Everything was thought through so well, with set design, with gadgets, with just lighting. Everything was so well thought through, and everything has a purpose, and it was beautiful. And they really, if you come into this film thinking that this is not, they didn't just pick a house and they filmed there, or they didn't just pick a location and film there. They set up these film spots and locations to match what they wanted. And with all the detail that you see in that, it's just, it blows your mind, because there's toys all over the house. There's personality in everything that they're interacting with or just walking past. And it's very interesting. Almost all of Steven Spielberg's films are like that. But if you just look past the characters, look at their environments, you'll be amazed at how detailed it is. Another part of it is there's scenes, I don't want to spoil too much, but there is a time when Elliot and E.T. get sick because they're connected through their emotions, through their feelings. And the sickness, it's not just something that feels like they get sick, and they're just sort of the way they display it and how they go about it, it's like it makes you feel sick when you watch it. Not because you're seeing anything gross, but because it's like it's so heavy and the acting is so good, and it's so just brought to you on a silver platter that it's like we don't even have to try to make you cultivate these emotions. It's happening already because it's so beautifully made. And it's just something I really appreciate when I see something like that. Also, there's a really interesting area where E.T. connects with these flowers, and when the flowers are dying, it shows that he's slowly losing health and slowly dying also. And then at the end, when he comes back up, when he comes back to life, the flowers bloom back up. It's just a very interesting perspective that allows the audience to see E.T.'s health without having to know it. Like, it's almost, you can put yourself in his shoes without actually feeling what he feels. So it's a very interesting concept. The other thing I want to mention about the story is that the dialogue is brilliant. I mean, it is gorgeous. Whoever wrote that dialogue, I should probably have looked up the writer, but it's just so well done. Dialogue in films these days are sometimes iffy, but the dialogue in this was so well done. It captivates you the whole time. It never feels like anything is said that's like, oh, that's super cheesy. I just like I lost myself a little bit in the story because of what they said. No, this story just holds on to you because the dialogue and the interaction between characters is so well written, and I just really appreciate things like that. Another thing I want to talk about is the art in the film. Just look at the shadows and the lighting choices of especially some of the bedroom scenes where E.T. and Elliot are interacting with toys and stuff in the bedroom. It's just so natural, but it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like taking something that feels natural and making it as beautiful as you could ever be. Also, the perspective. They didn't want to show the audience what E.T. looked like and his facial expressions and everything right off the bat. You see it eventually, but close to beginning, almost 1/3 of the first part of the film, you don't see a lot of E.T.s. Very mysterious. And just the way they did that is also beautiful, and there's a purpose behind it. And just appreciate it when you're watching through it. again, the shots, every shot has a purpose. They never just set up a camera and just went with it. The way it's laid out, the way it's placed, the motion the camera makes, everything has a strong purpose. And if you think about it, you don't have to be a genius to notice why the camera is set up that way, or to notice why the camera made that movement. A lot of times it's very obvious. It's just we don't think about it. And if you point that out to you, you start seeing, wow, I know why they had that little item in frame. It doesn't even serve a purpose in the film, but it tells me something. And it's just fascinating. Take a look at that. Look at each shot and just appreciate it. A couple really funny parts of the film that I wanted to point out was just so you can enjoy them when you watch them, and I just thought they're hilarious. One is pretty obvious. There's a scene right before they do a bike ride where these three friends are putting on like these masks and these sunglasses and their hat and stuff, and it's just like really cheesy, but it made me laugh. I don't know if they did that on purpose or if it's just like the times when they were filming it, they thought they were cool. I don't know. It made me laugh out loud. It was hilarious. The other one is a little bit more subtle because they alter your emotions a little bit so that you don't see it coming. But there's a scene where they're riding down the road, running from these policemen so they can get E.T. back to his spaceship so he can leave. And they're riding, it's right before they take off and they get the bikes. Like E.T. controls the bikes to make them fly, and these policemen are chasing them and they block off the road, and it's like their suspense is building and everything, and like Elliot is on the bike with E.T. in the front, and he like sees these two policemen, and these two policemen like freaking bring these shotguns up. Like you get a close-up of these shotguns, and because the suspense is building, you don't really think like, oh, shotguns. But it's like, what were they going to do with those shotguns? Like, these two guys are waiting for them with shotguns, and it's like, what are they going to do? I mean, a bunch of young kids are riding bikes, and there's an alien, and are they going to shoot the alien that they could have the opportunity to do amazing research on and possibly injure these kids in the process? It's just hilarious that these two guys just have shotguns, and you're just like, what are they going to do with those? It made me laugh when I saw it, and I thought, if I point that out to you guys, maybe you'll enjoy it as well. Thank you so much for watching the very first episode of Best Watch. Go check out the movie E.T., directed by Steven Spielberg. Also, right after this, visit wiseworksproduction.com. I'm doing an after show, and I'm posting it exclusively on there. You can go to the Personality Media button, and you can make a profile for Wiseworks. It's totally free, and you can watch the after show where I'm going to talk about some of the subplots of the film, as well as my favorite actor, and what I would rate this film on a scale of 1 to 50. All right? Thank you so much for watching Best Watch. We'll see you next week.